Hi everyone. I'm a bit out of focus, but again, that's what you want to look at, I guess. Not me. Um, can someone drop in if you can hear me? Okay, I'm sure you can. Just to double check, just to make sure. Just someone put in a comment that you can hear me. We've got a few. Let me just have a quick look. Actually, how are we doing? Oh, hang on. No, it's quiet now. Yeah, so if you can just stick up there, I think sounds all right. No one's saying anything, so I'm going to take it that it's all right. Yeah, brilliant. Okay. So again, today's relatively short, but next week's going to be an interesting one. Is it next week? Yes, next Monday's going to be an interesting one. Because I'll have the boards from Appy, so I'll have another monitor with all the advanced stuff, and I'll be prepping for getting ready for the show, the end of the week. So obviously, I doubt if there'll be one off on the Monday. I'll be knackered, so I doubt there's going to be one then. So I thought I would just go through what's been happening, usual up and downs. Can't hear anything even at 90%. Okay, oh, let me get this a bit closer. I think it might be just you. Anyone else? I can hear him fine. Yeah, it's fine now. Okay, right. What right? What do you think it is? Okay. I've waited for. It's not waited. I've had the Pi 3 Plus sitting around for ages. Okay, waiting to do this with it. But I've been in no rush to be fair to get one because not for no other reasons. I'm really busy and. It was just one of those things that I haven't got time to. I know it sounds terrible. I haven't got time to do all the configuration, all that, and learn all about it. I just want to be able to plug and play. I know it sounds a bit cop out, but I have enough to do. But I thought I ordered a PiStorm from a guy in Ukraine, and turned up. It's beautiful, lovely little board. And today I decided to put it in, with the help of Lee, who's helped out no end on this, and he's also going to be there. If you've got any questions about it, oh, okay. If you've got any questions about it, he might answer them because it won't be me because I don't know an awful lot about it. I know the basics. All I do know is this, that Michael Schultz has done a fantastic job on this, on EMU 68. And, God, he's really, really transformed that machine. Now, some of you may be aware, if I go over to here, to chat, there you go. So what I'm doing is it's going to be a little bit salesy, this one. But I've got these special packs that I'm doing. So if you haven't got a keyboard that works, or you don't want to use the Amiga 500 keyboard, I've got this PS2 pack. So there's this special pack. There's some videos about it. I've also included a video from Jan Beta. And I'm going to do a video on this because basically what I did was, the video shows me building it with this in it, the TF536, which is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But I've swapped it out for a PiStorm because oh my Christ, the performance is crazy. I didn't think the Pi 3 Plus would be actually that quick, but it's getting some silly figures. I mean, I'm not going to bore you with figures because you should know what they are. But it's, well, as I think you probably saw my video I did with the 1000 with the vampire in it. I'll eat that for breakfast. But it's a different thing. It's a hell of a lot cheaper. Would I put the PiStorm in my 1000? No. I really like the Vampire. But I like the V2. because of the price. So I'm really pleased with my 1000 with the Vampire in it. It's fantastic, and in fact there's a new update, so I may well be updating it soon. Putting this newer core again. For those who don't know, I've done the 2X string, which basically means it's still an Amiga, it's still using the chips, still playing, doing graphics for the Amiga and sound for the Amiga, etc, etc. But you get 24-bit graphics and a stupidly fast processor, so it's actually brilliant for that. And also you get network as well, which at the moment PiStorm doesn't have a network. I know Michael Schulz is working on that, and maybe at some point will be Wi-Fi or some kind of networking on it, which would be great. But it is amazing. And at first I was kind of a bit, what's it? How's it working? This, that, and the other. But the fact is, it's a bare metal 68000 emulator on the Pi. Uses a processor, but also it's now got in the it's got an RTG system in it, which is really good. The RTG on this is absolutely brilliant. I had to tweak it because it's by default it's kind of set for a widescreen, and of course this is not widescreen. But that was a little tweak in the config.txt file. You take the card out, shove it in a PC or Mac, as in my case. Just edit it and put details in for the HDMI mode you want to run. There's a link to it, you can find it. But it absolutely flies, and I've got it running at 1024, 768. I'm over the moon with it. So yeah, so that's I'm really pleased with that. And I think actually that 500 now, because that's my original 500, well, not the one I had back in the day, but it's the original one I built into that machine, into that case when I first launched the Plus. So I'm probably going to keep that. I think the PiStorm is a nice setup to have in that. So yeah, if it's something you're interested in, now if you want to use the keyboard, you can still do it. You have to, just buy one of my cases and keyboard kits. I'm going to try and do a pack, but see if I can do a pack for that to get the cost down a bit. But I do the discounts, so you get the discounts anyway. Yeah, it's sales last month were quite good. I think this month is probably going to tail off a bit. I wouldn't be surprised because the show's coming up. And then hopefully once I've been to the show, and then we'll go, look. Hopefully some Europeans will come back. I will say it's largely the UK and American market that's buying all my cases now. I think the Americans, because the dollar, they're doing very well out of it. So that's good. Yeah, Europeans, I get the odd, like German, European markets kind of died off. I tried to encourage, hopefully going to the show next, middle of the month, encourage people to order. Yeah, so they've kind of not completely deserted me. I don't know about other companies in the UK, but kind of since Brexit, the Europeans are deserting it. So we'll see what happens. Right, so actually the monitor here has had some changes. So if I go and find out, I asked Appy to make this little board. I think I showed you this last week. Actually, the funny thing is that this was the original concept of the board, and the idea was that it was going to be this little breakout board plugs into the component on the controller. And then you still got the VGA input internally, and then you put the Byron's board SCART interface with the GPS 8200, and that's basically what's in this one here. In fact, if I turn it round, let me just let me switch screens. Okay, I'll take my camera. Right. So what we got here, if I turn this round, if you see on the back, let me see, we got this? Yeah, okay, so down the bottom, oh, hang on. Yeah, you probably won't hear me unless I do this. Right, so at the bottom, I've got, as you can see there, the bottom pod has got the basic controller and that little board that Appy made, instead of just being hand wired cables now, it's a nice little board. And then above that is the Byron's board with the SCART going into the GBS 8200, and at the top is now the single board Mister unit. Now that's not wired in yet, but it's actually all in their cables and everything ready to go. I've just got a switch. I want to put a switch on it so you can turn it on and off, because you don't always want the Mister on. But yeah, so that's coming on really nice. Now, why I'm showing you that, let's see if I can come back. Let's put it back up here. Right, the reason I'm showing you that is because of the way well, firstly the dollar. Well, no, it's not dollar's fault. It's the pound's fault. Crashing against the dollar. It's come back a little bit, but it's causing some problems. So my concern is the cost. I don't want the cost getting silly. So the Appy's boards, they're quite. There's a lot there. Okay, there's a lot of boards and stuff to make that all work. So we're going to have a light version, and the light version is basically the original version I was going to do. So it's a much cheaper to produce, and it will be this. Oh, you can't see it now. So it's going to be basically, the light version will be this. So the monitor, think of it as a platform. Okay, that's the way you got to look at it. The monitor, your choice of panel, and this will be the basic light version. Now you'll always be able to upgrade, but you'll be able to then have an option to have the basic SCART inputs. So let's go through this again for those that don't know. If you look on here, hopefully you can see my mouse pointer. This is component. It comes as standard with component input and 2 composite inputs, and there's the audio input that's shared across that whole board. Now the component input on this is only interlace. So you can't do non-interlace 320, 240p kind of games. It's not for that. However, the composite is such good quality, I don't think you're going to really be too much of a problem. I actually run testing upstairs. I've got my 1200 in high-res interlace plugged into the component, and when you want to do a demo, you just switch it to composite, and it looks amazing. So that's something you'd have to see to believe me, but it actually does look good. Now then, of course, on top of that, if you buy the upgrade, now I can't give you prices. Don't ask for prices, please. I'm not going to give you them. I'm only going to disappoint you. The reason is because I had no idea about the dollar doing it, or the pound doing this against the dollar. I thought I didn't want to quote prices because we don't know what's happening in the future. So if you've got the light version, you can either upgrade to just put in the SCART, and the GBS the upper board will have the GBS 8200 with GBS control, which makes it really good, and a SCART interface. So then what you've got then is an RGB SCART interface. So most things you want to plug in with RGB SCART. You've also got component again. Now that component will do low resolution as well. Okay, so sorry, non-interlace as well. So you get the best of both worlds. Then you get much better quality. So by just upgrading it, that is not going to be that expensive. Now then, the next level up will be Appy's stuff, and basically that's just gonna it's well, the quality. Actually, the funny thing is, I was having a little bit of problems with noise. Since I put this in and I tied all the cables up, I've got beautiful signal on this now. So actually this light version is brilliant, but Appy's one has got a lot more ground planes. It's just overboard, and we've got so much in there. But you've got things like automatic switching. So if you pull a plug out and plug it into, or you turn on one composite and then you switch and you turn on the other one, it will switch to it automatically does all that switching between layers. Okay, don't worry, I'm still here. So his board's going to do the automatic switching. The quality is going to be upped again. The upper board is going to have it's going to have RGB SCART, but you'll be able to put if you've got composite on that SCART, you'll be able to use that. It's again got the component, but it's also got CGA and EGA on the board, and a whole load of stuff on it that it's capable of doing, and the automatic switching and so on. So there's also it's much simpler to set up. So you can now, I think during the Kickstarter, if you upgrade to the Pro, you're going to get the whole lot. But after that, it'll probably come standard with Appy's boards. Again, this is still not 100% decided, but it's going to come with Appy's board, and you probably upgrade to the top board. But the difference is with that one, because of the way it's designed and it's got this back plane, you just get the card and you go plug it in, click it in, 2 screws, and you're ready to go. It's much more professional. It's much better. Now, if you're quite happy with connecting wires up, then the light version may be for you. If you don't want to go anywhere near CGA, EGA ever, then maybe the light version will be for you. So what we're trying to do is I do want to make it so that there's a lower cost of entry, because it's not going to be cheap. The panels are going to be expensive. The tooling is expensive. So this is not a cheap product. It's not expensive, but it's not cheap. But it does mean if I go for a light version, because when you get the high-end version, you still get the basic controller here, because it's a controller we need to control the panel, and it has all this audio-visual stuff in it built onto the controller. So you'll get that, but it'll be hidden away, and then all the connectors will connect into the backplane, and then we plug in our boards, and then it says, hence it's going to be obviously more expensive, but I think the quality is going to step up again, usability, and it'll be really nice, because there's a load of features which I'm not going to go through here, but there's a load of benefits you get with it, apart from obviously quality, but the automatic switching, and well, I don't want to go into all the details, so let's save them for later on. But so yeah, that's and also this little S video, you'll be able to plug in the RetroTink Mini and the Mini Pro. I think it's called the Pro, isn't it? You'll be able to plug them into one of these type of mount systems, but they're not particularly cheap, whereas this is, and this will be an S video plug-in that you'll be able to it'll be just snapped into a back panel. Put it in the light one, you'd have to connect up a couple of cables. Okay, I'm not sure if we're going to do a more, because it's just going to put the price up. So you probably just connect a couple of cables, but this is like 25-30 quid. Mount frames about a tenner. So that gives S video. So if you've got, for example, if you get this full smash and you get all of Appy's stuff, you're laughing if you've got a C128, because it will take the EGA input from the 128, and you can put S video into it, and then you can switch between the two. So the potential is brilliant, and I think for the money, this we'll go and have a look at the video, because I did a video on this already. It's really good. Right, okay, let's have a look at questions. Land clear, the cat, yeah, okay. Flipbox and stuff can be used for networking. Is it work around time? Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I've got Flipbox. That's a good point. But it's not at the moment. I'm not using it for networking. It's not a big deal at the moment. Again, I don't get a lot. I'm designing and stuff. So I did a video last week all about the changes for the new monitor. I've just got to get round to sending them to be made. I did get a quote from the UK. Made me laugh. God, no chance. Right, obviously got a Pico derivatives for Pi trace cartridge. Yeah, Pi stuff's a nightmare. So this Pro version, what can't plug into it, because this seems to all practical purposes, this is a monitor. Okay, so let's be realistic about this, alright? You can't put an SGI in it, because apparently an SGI's got a special cable. I think the Next has a special converter cable. There's some systems out there that you can't just plug in, hence the socket, make another board, plug it in, because Appy's already wants to get involved in that kind of thing. But look, it's going to cover all your composite needs, all your component needs. It's going to cover RGB, SCART, it's going to be VGA, HDMI, S-Video with this as a plug-in. Pretty much everything, but that's not to say absolutely everything, okay? But it's, you know, it's pretty good. And I'm just over the moon with this because I had mentioned when I'd done shows, I'd actually shown people a little bit of noise, and you could see a little bit of noise. It just sort of moved these little lines, very faint, but you could see them. But it's gone. It's completely gone now. It's brilliant. It was obviously just the way I'd wired it up, and I did a pretty poor job of it, to be honest. Obviously, now it's just absolutely fantastic. And that board of API is just short cables going in, and it just works great. So that's solid. I'm really chuffed with that now. Yes, next is Sync on Green. Yeah, I think we've got to do something to do with Sync on Green, but it's one of those things that, you know, he's got enough work on his plate, so I don't want to overdo him. SGI uses, again, that's what I was saying, SGI and the next, I think, you know, and I'm sure there'll be others that we can't, but look, CGA and EGA pretty much covers it. You can take VGA, you can do HDMI, S-Video, composite, component, 2 lots of component. The basic one is with interlace only, so as soon as you go non-interlace it switches off and you just switch to composite. But if you go to the GBS version, then you get non-interlace component as well, and the component looks amazing, absolutely amazing. I do think this board, what you can see on the screen here, actually, if I was to be honest, as an Amiga owner, I'd say that's almost spot on, because you've got the component. If you just get a little adapter, it gives you component output, plug into there, and composite at the same time. And so you just switch between the two. And the composite, you can use interlace workbench in composite, and you can see it's composite, but you forget. And anyway, people have come to the show and seen this. As soon as you switch the component, you get that rock solid display. You can tell the difference. But if I didn't tell, most people I put workbench on and go, oh, that looks fantastic. Yeah, that's composite. And then you switch the component or RGB SCAR, and then they're just blown away. So actually, that's actually really good signal. I have 3 old giant SGI CRT monitors I've never been able to use, but I've saved them for over 20 years because it's SGI. Yeah, quite right. I mean, you need to ask me some questions now, because it's not, as I said, when I pick up the monitor next week. Do you want to see how quick this thing boots? Watch this. There we go. And I like the way it comes up. I've turned the sound off because it does the same noise as the Amiga 1000. It's really neat. And if you're watching, Mike, great job. Michael. Bang. I'm well pleased with that. And I'm using Caffeine OS, which means it's kind of naughty, but I do have a lot of that software on there anyway. We all know it's a bit... But, yeah, it's... I'm well pleased. And video, I mean, look, I'm not knocking the Vampire, but apart from the price, or the new price, not the old price. The old price was fine. But this will eat it alive. It's a lot faster. But the Vampire, as I said, is in my 1000. I still like it, you know. And in fact, I've got a Vampire in my 2000, which is over here, and my 1000. So I've got 2 Vampires, V2s. But you know, right. Out of all the modern hardware upgrades for Amigas, what is your personal favourite? Oh God. I'm going to get in trouble. My favourite is one I don't use. I'll show you. It seems I haven't got around to sending it back for checking. I think there's something maybe a little bit wrong with it. But if you want to know truthfully what my favourite is, it's ridiculous. I mean, luckily I was very lucky, because they approached me at the last Amiga show, and they wanted me to have, and I said, well, look, I'll send you a couple of cases with everything, and they sent me this. So I sent them 2 cases with all the extras, and they sent me this. This is my, and sadly again it's not in the machine. And I will at some point. I'll send it off to them just to get them to double check it for me. But I think there's something a little bit. It wasn't working, but it wasn't working. It could be nothing. It could be the Amiga. It could be anything. I just don't have time to put it back in again. But the warp, that's my favourite. I love it. It's just amazing because of what it can do. It's just outstanding, and it has got a 6860 on it. So who's not to like 100 megahertz? This will run stable at 100 megahertz. It's got RTG that'll do 1920, 1020. It's got networking in Wi-Fi networking. It's just amazing. So, and USB. I haven't updated the software for a long time, but yeah, there you go. Hope that answers. But yeah, PiStorm, cheapest and fastest. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, faster than this. But you asked me what my favourite was. And the reason for that is it is actually a 6860 chip, and you know I didn't have one back in the day. I had a 6840, but it is just a wonderful bit of kit. Really, really beautiful bit of kit. So yeah, that's my favourite, but I don't use it. Not yet. I would at some point, but like most things, you don't get much time. As always, if you do this stuff for a business, if you turn it into a business, it becomes less of a hobby because you have less time. So there's a word of warning for you. See if I can get that in there now. That is a lovely card. Will you offer the display with one of those systems? Do you mean one of the cases? Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll probably do bundles. Yeah, obviously. You know about the AROS machines? I'm just down there now. I'm pretty close to having a fully supported. I've got motherboards, and it's just the network driver I haven't written. It's costing me quite a lot of money. What I'm going to do is get the driver written, pay for it, have a couple of months of just for me, and then probably Christmas we'll put it into the repository, and then open source it and everyone can have it. But that's just really to build systems. They'll be really good price as well. Build some systems with AROS with NVIDIA graphics, 3D graphics, really nice 3D, HD audio, proper networking, and yeah, I mean that there will be a video on this, but I'm waiting. I want to get the driver done first, because at the moment what we're doing is we're plugging in a card, and it's got a network card in it, so it's much better because it's all on there. Why not just have the driver written? And it's better for the community, the AROS community, if we put that driver out there, because it does mean you can go off and buy this generation of motherboards, which you can still get, and you can build yourself an AROS machine. It just so happens I'm going to do one and build it, and I'm going to give myself up until the end of the year to hopefully sell a few, and then after that you can go and play and build your own. Hopefully in one of my cases. Does the AROS thing work with USB mouse keyboard? That's an interesting one. So it works with a USB keyboard. Okay. See, on the board it seems to have a bit of a problem with mice, but I'm using. It's got PS2, so I'll run a PS2 mouse. Which now if I ship it, you'll get everything. You'll get a keyboard. You'll get the keyboard. You get the mouse. It'll be working. You can put memory sticks into it. It's some of the USB. I'm hoping that the USB will be looked at, because some of it's not quite perfect. But I think that's just some of to do with AROS. But your basics are there. Be all fine. Monitor spec looks perfect. I have a C64 output to component. Oh, okay, that's interesting. C128 SCART RGB and SCART composite 64 mode, Atari ST RGB SCART, yep, plus a Mac 2FX with 15-pin cable and a DVI only retro PC. Look, we don't have any DVI input. Actually, we don't, but you can get adapters, can't you? VGA to DVI. We don't have a DVI input. Does anyone have an HD internal floppy, and how rare was it? Can it be replaced in 600? Good question. Don't know. They are. Well, I think they're just PC drives. I think they were just PC drives, but they're probably set up differently, obviously. Yes, and high fuzzy. But yeah, let's get back to here. Right. So, this is for Fuzzy because he probably hasn't seen this. What do you think of this? I'm going to bring this to Amiga 37 with me. I'm going to show it off in the case, obviously, with the monitor. Because actually, let me just show you. Expert benchmarks sysinfo. Right, so that's sysinfo running, but now I just switch to there, and that's it's a bit bright, isn't it? Let me turn the brightness down a little bit. Let's turn it down a bit because it's a bit bright for this. Let's have a look. That's it. That may be a bit too much. Okay. You want to see the speed? Let me put this up on. So I've been chatting. I've been chatting away, and I had it on playing at Blackmagic, and there was no audio. Sorry about that. Speak slower. We can't read your lips that fast. My face is all blurred. Yeah, I know. So I don't know. I switched it into full screen, and for some reason I haven't got the microphone connected on the audio input. Sorry about that. Yeah. all I was saying, it was fast, 20 megabyte a second on the hard drive read speed. But the it's like 850, 890 MIPS and floating points. It's really fast. It's really good. So yeah, it's really really impressive actually. In fact, I'm using Caffeine OS, as you know, is a bit legit, not really, but it's pretty well configured up, and it's got all the kind of stuff I like playing with. So yeah, Lightwave. I'm going to play with Lightwave on that because I was using it on my 1000. I like to see how it renders and that kind of thing. Right, come on, questions, because then I'm going to go because I'm going to go and sit down with the wife and watch a bit of telly. Yeah, I know. Well, I do that on purpose. That's the idea, you see. And my videos all have the monitor in it and have it. Now, interestingly, when we get to the end of this video, Yeah, you could put, yeah. I haven't overclocked this either. Yeah, that's a good point. I put a little heatsink on it. You can overclock it, and I haven't. I just haven't because I don't want to. Just I'm not. I mean, look, 900 MIPS. That's plenty. So I'm not going to mess around with it. How much okay, Jeremy. Right. How much software are you going to supply with what? Now I'm assuming you mean the AROS machine. AROS is going to be a really interesting configuration because I've got 3 fully legit, because I'm including the Amiga Forever CD, right? So fully legit. So, but 3 different systems. One's going to be basically a WHD load, so you can just run demos and games, right? And they're configured in a certain way. I've gone in and configured them myself for me to use them. So you've got 3 of them. That's basically an Amiga Forever 3X with WHD load and a few color and then backdrops, that kind of thing. Just a couple of little tweaks. There's also a hard drive version of 1.3 operating system with some bits and pieces on there, so you can. It's set up like an Amiga 1000 with Amiga 1000 speed, chip RAM, that kind of thing. But you can supercharge it. You can turn it up. You can put extra chip RAM, supercharge the damn thing, and have as much fun as you like. But the final one, those 2, the first 2 have got good sound, okay. I'll explain this more later. They're configured to give good sound, good everything, all right? But then the final one is a full-blown RTG system, which is basically my idea of a good RTG system. It's designed for RTG, so don't try running games for it. That's what the WHD load setup is for. But it's got a whole lot of stuff on there that is legit, okay, and you can use it. You can add as much as you like, but it's got a full screen. Again, RTG, fast, and it runs on AROS, and it just runs great. But I know that people like coherency. Yes, you can do that if you want. Go off, enjoy it, make the sunshine happen. I don't like that. I like to have full screen because as soon as you run in coherency, it slows the bloody thing down. So I like it full screen, just have its own screen and all the 68K software, and it runs fantastic. But yeah, that's going to come. It's also going to come with an Icarus manual, but hard manual. I'm going to actually make some nice printed manuals to match my cases. Like in the boxes, you'll get the case manual, and then you'll get an Icarus manual. So just a nice system to buy. Again, it's AROS. You either like it or you don't. If you don't know about AROS, don't buy it. If you know about AROS and you're aware of AROS, then this will be nice because you get really good 3D graphics. Bear in mind it's 630 set. Okay, so it's pretty good for an Amiga. It's fantastic 3D. If you don't compare it to today, will it play Crysis? No. Right. How much stuff are you going to buy? Yeah, I've done that. You don't need to overclock the Pi. Stability is more important. Plus, the gains seem to be good enough. Yeah, I don't see the point of. I just stuck a heat sink on the Pi's chip, just to get some heat off of it. But I don't really care. I mean, I'm not bothered about it. I mean, it's twice as fast as a Vampire, if you want to put it that way. 1/5 of the price. These PiStorm boards, 50-60 quid. And the Pi, once they come back on stream fully, are like 25-30 quid. So for 75-80 £, you get a really, really good accelerator. And I've got HDMI going to the back and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's Caffeine OS is. I mean, isn't Caffeine OS basically Coffin OS messed around with? Because it looks the same to me. The AROS version, so pretty much the same thing. But it's really good, and it's basically AROS. Well, is it actually no? Is it no? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I don't know. It's a very good question. I think it's based on AROS actually. I think it's a naughty distro of 3.9. Yeah, I forgot to put the heatsink on, but it was alright. It wasn't running that hot actually. It's not overclocked. Is the AROS machine going to be available in black? Yes, but I've only got white keyboards. So if you want it black, just get yourself a black PS2 keyboard. I've got no black keyboards, but it can come in black. It doesn't bother me, but I just won't send you a keyboard. It's also AROS, I believe, and works on V2. Yeah. Cafe. Yeah. Anyway, look, come on, questions, because I'm going to go. Right, so any more questions? When this is finished, there's going to be an advert on the end for people who watch it later. You don't have to watch that. You've probably seen it. All right, so I'll give you a couple of minutes to think of questions, and then I'm going to go. I can't see any questions, but I will give you a minute. So yeah, oh, if you haven't registered for the monitor, oh, Michael, hello. Did you see the bit when I was blowing sunshine? Yeah, I'm blowy. Don't worry about that because it's all about this. Hello. Finally set it up. Finally got it going. Amazing, absolutely amazing. I know I've been really slow on this one, but no, it's absolutely fantastic. This is. I will publicly apologise because that email I sent off to the Pi Foundation. Obviously, I'm not in favour at the moment. Or they probably actually, in reality, they've probably forgotten who I am. So hence you didn't, unless you did get a response, but I didn't get a response. So. Have you been moving any more checkmate garages? Are you taking any? Okay, so yes, I still sell quite a lot of cases. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this full time. I couldn't. So I'm not saying I sell it for. I'll probably sell about 20 a month, 25 a month, maybe and the extras and bits and pieces, that kind of thing. So it's tick over money while we wait for the monitors. Am I taking them to 37? No, I can't because. It's a bloody nightmare with Brexit, absolute nightmare. So so no, I'm not. But I'm probably going to do something like a special price, or free shipping, probably free shipping or something like that. And I'll do. I think free shipping is probably a good one because you already get a discount on it anyway. But I might do that. I'll just give people a code or tell them to contact me, let me know their order, and I'll mark it up, market paid, which is part of the reason for it. Reconnection. Can you petition MPs to sign no import duties with EU? Many buyers seem to be upset having to pay import duties again. You're not. I suppose. Right, you got to pay your VAT. You got to pay your VAT. It's simple. I know it's a pain that you have to you buy the thing and then you got to pay VAT, right? It's very clear on my site that you have to do this. But the duties are only like £12. Sorry, 12, 13 euros, maybe 15 at most. So I get it, but you're getting that discount off the cases. So I understand it's a little bit frustrating that you've got to do that second step. The problem is, do you want these products or not? It's as simple as that. If you want them, people buy them. But if you go to my site, and it does explain it. Everything's clear. So in Serbia we get no payback, and I import. Okay. Well, buy some, sell them, but yeah, and it is very slow to Europe, and and I get it. I do understand, but it's that thing. If you want it, it's here. It's just it's basically an extra 10-15 euros, right? Again, that's made up by the discount I give. But then when what happens is when I ship it, you get an email from like DHL. Click here, pay VAT, done. It's not difficult. It's just people see that. It's not hidden. Will the AROS machine come with the riser? Good question. Yes. Now here's the thing about that. It's very important because these machines I've got, they have a fan. But it's a good idea because of that. You got the 340mm fans at the back. Now it's an AMD CPU, okay, single core one as well, but it's like 2.8 gigahertz, right, which is more than quick enough for AROS. So you got this machines in there, but you got to get that. They still run quite hot, don't they? So it'll suck everything out. Good thing is it's not overly hot. But I put a water cooler on mine, so if there'll be an upgrade option that you can buy with an all-in-one water cooler, bolt that on. You've probably seen the pictures. You can put the water cooler on it, and it looks really cool as well. No, it's down there, isn't it? And if you haven't seen it, yeah, it does look very nice, but it adds to the cost, you know. But it's actually not. It's not expensive. I'm aiming at £400 for the base model, with the computer and everything, right? And then you can upgrade to, you know, better parts, that kind of thing. But plus VAT and shipping, obviously. But I don't think that's a bad price, because especially as it'll come with all the Amiga software, and you'll be able to, it'll run this Amiga operating systems really fast. I mean, it's really fast, so it's pretty good for that as well. Cam raisers, handle, Ducky Zero mechanical beneath the key. I don't know what a Ducky Zero is, but you've got something like 420 millimeters width. You can if it's a TKL, if it's a 10 keyless, yeah, 10 keyless. In other words, hasn't got the keypad on the end. You can slide it underneath. Upgrades, wait and see, but it's basically things like, it'll probably come standard with right, okay, it's coming with a compact flash. People are going to go, oh my god, because you can't get IDE drives and AROS doesn't support SATA. Now, I've been using compact flash forever, and it'll come with a certain size, probably 64 gig, but then you can upgrade to 256. So we'll see. Upgrade that. You might want to upgrade the water cooler because it'll make it a bit quieter and cooler. And there'll be a few little things like that you'll be able to do. Maybe upgrade the RAM, no point. Come with 2 gig, which is plenty for AROS. And just wait and see what, when it comes out. Don't forget, like 230 odd quid of that is the case and the case of the PSU. So I think it's going to be a good deal. Wait and see. Won't be long. Can you undervolt it? Undervolt what? No, it's not. It's not like a modern PC where you can mess around. You don't need to anyway. It's are you? I think. I don't know why you want to undervolt it, to be honest. I mean, just basically run it as is. I'll do a proper video on it, and it'll give you everything on temperatures and that kind of thing, and I'll show you the insides, and I think it's going to be quite a nice little machine. But the key thing is fully NVIDIA 3D graphics, HD audio, recording. You can record audio. It will come with the network built in. So and it will come with a keyboard and mouse that works, and then you can put memory sticks into it. USB is going to be an interesting one. Hopefully because I'm already supplying developers with some bits so they can play. The guy doing the network's got a complete system. So I want to encourage the developers again, and if there's people with these machines, I'm not expecting to sell a lot. I sell half a dozen, I'll be happy. Makes it less hot. Well, it doesn't get that hot. No, trust me, it doesn't get hot. The fan's on, but I've got that. As I said, I've got the all-in-one water cooler on it. But it's not pumping out tons of heat. It's not like it's got a discrete GPU in it or something like that. It's got one bit on board, and it's just a nice little machine. You'll have to to wait and see. But it's actually down there now because I put the PiStorm up here. Right. Okay. Any more questions? Any more questions? Then I'm gonna go. We're talking about the x86 now, Michael. Oh, actually, no, I was. Maybe they were talking about the ARM, but no, I'm quite. I put heatsink on that little ARM, and it's lovely. It's really good. Nice and quiet. It's got well, actually, no, say overkill on the PSU, but it's got one of my little PSUs in it. But it powers the Amiga and everything, and you know, it just works great. I guess it'll be okay. My 1500 works fine. Right, okay. I'm going to go. I will see you next Monday. Definitely going to be can DB9 ports be extended to the back of the 1500? They're already at the back. If you're talking about a 500, they're at the back. The 600s at the back. Sorry, the 1200s at the back. The 600s, interestingly, you'd need to make extender cables, but there's holes there for them. But anyway, done now. So in a second, I'm going to stop this. It's going to go into a video. You don't have to watch that bit. That's just my advert on the end, okay? But thanks everyone for joining in. Appreciate it. And I will speak to you next Monday. And see you then. Alright, thanks so much. The Checkmate 1500 Mini and Plus cases are mostly engineered and manufactured in the UK. They're designed to give a nice retro inspired vibe on your desktop. The 1500 Plus is the biggest of the cases and designed to be able to take much bigger motherboards inside. So this can take a micro ATX as well as mini ITX if you want to build a PC. But also, with the correct rear panel, you can fit an Amiga 500, an Amiga 1200 and an Amiga 600 and build your ultimate Amiga rig. The Mini is designed to take mini ITX motherboards, but don't think that limits you. Yes, you can build a PC, but also you can put in many custom motherboards from the retro scene, like the Mystics, which takes a DE10 Nano, one of our DE10 Nano fitting kits, a fitting kit for the Raspberry Pi 4 and other systems that are coming on stream right now. The Checkmate Garage was inspired by our new monitor developments. The reason being, if you've got a 500, 1200, an Atari ST, BBC Micro or any of the all-in-ones, it's nice to be able to put the monitor directly above and tidy up your system. However, exciting new product is our new range of monitors, 17 and 19 inch retro inspired monitors with loads of input, but also capable of taking an all-in-one computer internally. The monitor will come to Kickstarter hopefully August, September time. If you want to go on the mailing list telling you when it's ready, please point your camera at this QR code and it will take you to the page, which will then allow you to press a button to add yourself to the mailing list. The monitor is an important part of this company's strategy. Large amounts of development work are being done and it will be like nothing you've ever seen. So hopefully it will pique your interest and you'll back us on the Kickstarter. Let's come to Patreon. Patreon is a very important part of this project. What we're planning with Patreon is, if you are a Patreon backer, whatever you've invested in Patreon to help us, we will put up to 5% of an order. So you get an extra 5%, but that's the whole order. Doesn't matter what you've ordered. It doesn't even matter if you don't back us on Patreon anymore. Hopefully you'll come back, but we'd want to show our gratitude to all those who backed us in the past. You'll see their names ticking by in this video. But I also know this is not just about people wanting discounts on products. They want more content from myself. So what you're going to see is a lot more videos from me, because now that I am full-time on this project, I'll have more time to spend on it. So I can give you videos of my computers. You'll notice I do have a reasonable collection and I'm going to talk you through them. This is something that was at the top of the list for people who are backing me on Patreon. Not everyone does it to back the new projects. So how come I've got more time? Well, for the last 15 years I've worked for a company called Web Labs and they've been absolutely fantastic. In fact, none of these products would have existed, and I'm going to stick their logo up here. I want to thank them, and going forward we'll probably still work with Web Labs and do some further development, but ultimately I want to concentrate on this project and hopefully make a success of it. And let's hope I can be doing this for many years to come.